Sextant. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're actually doing an interview today with our very own Dr. Pleger. He's the president of our university, and he's come in to talk to us today.
So we're excited to be Lakers.
Very cool. What do you want to tell the students about who you are, where you came from?
Sure.
Some of your background, maybe.
So I've talked with a number of folks about this, but my background is I grew up in Marinette, which is right on the border with the Upper Peninsula. Grew up right on Lake Michigan. The Great Lakes were a big part of my childhood. Owned a lot of different boats and spent time on the shoreline. I'm almost a Youper, so I've eaten a lot of pasties and smelt. Menominee, Michigan, which is the twin city with Marinette, Wisconsin, those two are interstate rivals. In fact, they have the oldest interstate football rivalry, high school rivalry in the country, Marinette, Wisconsin and Menominee, Michigan. And I went to the University of Wisconsin La Crosse as an undergraduate. My undergraduate degrees are in political science and anthropology and archaeology, and my master's is in anthropology. My PhD is in archaeology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I'm an archaeologist focusing on the Great Lakes. So all of my research, I've been a professor, a research archaeologist, and then various types of administrators, a dean, and equivalent campus president in Wisconsin. But my archaeology research is the Native American past of the Great Lakes.
Very cool. So you guys have been here for a couple weeks. Have you found anywhere on campus that you can say is like your favorite spot to hang out on campus?
We arrived in June, and we came from Baraboo, Wisconsin, which is outside of Madison as the last post. We've been all over the state of Wisconsin. Both of us are from Wisconsin. My wife Teresa is from western Wisconsin. But in the time we've been here, well, we really like where the house is. I love the view looking out at International Bridge. We really like hearing the ship traffic. First couple nights it kept us up a little bit, but now we're getting used to it, and I love that sound. I like the seagulls on campus, like the smell of the St. Mary's River and the Great Lakes. But in terms of places on campus, I really like the view from the back of the Sisler here, looking out at the International Bridge. I like walking along at night, the row houses, and they were pretty quiet when we arrived in the summer, but now it's fun when I walk home at night, see all the lights on and students sitting out on the porch and hear voices and things coming out. So to me, that row, walking from the administration building down to our home, makes me think a lot about college, because I see students living in these homes and hear what they're up to. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. So, as the president of university, you have got a lot of stuff you do in your daily work. Any advice for students about, like, maybe time management things and
get a good assistant. Well, if you can't do that, and I really appreciate having Kay's an outstanding assistant for me in terms of keeping me organized. I think a big part is to lay out a schedule. And I remember what it was like to be a college student. You know, you're going to class, you're studying, you want to have time to socialize, if you get involved in extracurricular activities, and then you want some downtime. That the week can get pretty crazy. So I think laying out a schedule and making certain, what's really important is to have some free time as a college student, to just have some space to enjoy the experience, reflect upon what you're doing, but stay on top of stuff. The best advice I can give students is show up, get involved, ask lots of questions, go and see faculty. This small environment, students have an opportunity that you don't get at a mega university, and take advantage of that. Really the most critical factor of getting into graduate school or a professional school, grades are important, but the most important thing is a letter of recommendation from a faculty member who can truly say they know that student. And students here have an opportunity to do that in a way that would not occur at a big university. And the way to take advantage of that is get involved on campus. Get involved and get to know faculty.
Very cool. So, being new here, are there any big plans you have for the university, things you want to see happen here that aren't already in place, or things that are in place that you want to maybe improve upon?
Well, there are a lot of things. As I've started the job, turn over every rock, there's something new that needs my attention, or is interesting, or how are we going to develop that or fix that, and the list gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But there's some critical things I think we need to do. We need to grow the campus. We have about 2,300 students with 350, 330 employees, 350 would include part-time, so 320 full-time employees. That's an amazing ratio. You're not going to find that at any other public university in Wisconsin or Michigan or maybe the whole upper Great Lakes. It's a good thing. That means students have lots of opportunity to interact, but we really need to grow the student population, I think, to about 2,900 to start to generate some surplus revenues so that we can plan for the future. And we really need to think about what is Lake State going to look like 5 years, 10 years from now, what kinds of degree programs are we going to add, how large will we get, what new renovations do we want to do on campus. And the only way we can do that is to reach a critical mass in terms of the amount of revenue that we bring in from tuition, state support, grant, contract research, or auxiliary operations, so that we can start to put away some funds to plan for things that will be different in the future. So we need to do that. I think the student body needs to be a bit more diverse. We have some diversity in terms of ethnicity on campus, more actually than I thought coming up here. But I think we also need to diversify in age. We have a relatively low percentage of non-traditional students on campus, and by that I mean over 25, 26. And I think it's 4% is the number I've heard. That is really low. And I have experience of working in institutions where it's above 25%, and it's good for the university. It's good for the student body. The 17-year-olds get to meet someone who's 30, who's had some life experience, and they're in class together. And it also helps us serve our community. Non-traditional students statistically tend to stay in the region more than traditional age students. So we need to grow that population on campus because that helps the surrounding area in the upper Great Lakes of driving up college attainment levels. So I think that's important. I think internally the campus needs to focus on communication. That's something that I'm big on. Sharing information with the student body, with the faculty and staff more than what we're doing now. We need to meet more frequently face-to-face, the faculty and staff. So that's important. And then we really need to promote the institution more. I keep hearing Lake State's the best kept secret. Well, that's not a good thing. We need to make people around the Great Lakes know about what we have to offer. And I think we're not as known as we should be in Northeast Wisconsin, Minnesota, even portions of Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and we have so much to offer. I mean, if I came up here multiple times when I was in high school and even junior high. I didn't know there was a university here. And what attracted us to come here was that we have so many degree programs, a beautiful campus, an international border, 2 Great Lakes, all kinds of parks and natural resources. This is a neat place, and we have some programs that are tops in their fields that are attracting students from significant distance away, but we need to get the message out to a much broader audience in terms of what we have here.
Yep. Did you have any personal ideas of how we can go about this? We as students can.
Yeah. Well, one thing for the students is tell a friend, and I mean that in person, but also through social media. Invite a friend to visit campus. I think our biggest challenge is getting someone here to visit the campus because our location is attractive to some people. Other people, where is Sault Ste. Marie? It's way up north. But once you're here and you walk around and you see the buildings and you meet professors and see what we have to offer, then all of a sudden this becomes an attractive option to go to school. So I think one thing that students can help out with is regularly talking about their experience on social media, assuming it's positive. But I also want to hear about things that students have concerns about, and they can talk to me directly about that. And helping spread the word. And we need to engage our alumni more too. I've been going out meeting alumni in different areas of Michigan, Wisconsin, and across the board, alumni love their experiences here. I hear about our athletic traditions, the small scale. Usually I hear a handful of faculty names, some of whom are still here, that made tremendous impacts on these graduates' lives. And our alumni speak very positively about their experience. Of course, I'm going to places where alumni want to come to and interact with me, but we need to have them tell the story as well, and make people realize what a gem of a campus we have in terms of our programming and the resources we have here.
Right. So a few weeks ago, an email went out about an open coffee hour. that you had talked about. Do you want to give
Sure.
us a
Yeah,
little
I want to.
about
I want to engage with faculty, staff, and students as much as I can. I've spent a lot of my time going out and meeting faculty, staff, students, community people. I need to do more of that. And so I want to have some events throughout the year where I can listen, have conversations. One will be through this coffee format that we'll do several times a year. I think we'll continue with the Pizza with the President tradition that I participated in when we came in March. And then I also want to have some opportunities for students to come by the house. I think there's been a tradition of that in the past, of an outside event. And so I encourage students to come to those. And also I encourage students to stop me and talk with me. Now, if I'm trucking across the campus and I'm late to a meeting, I may not be able to engage in a long conversation, but I am trying to stop when I have times and talk to students. And I encourage students to come and see me, stop me if they see me on campus, and tell me about what their experience is like and what they like and what could be improved. And I want to hear what it's like for them to be Laker students.
Is there anything else, like you've got any of your personal things that you want to talk about, anything else that we haven't covered?
Sure. I don't know how many students know we live on campus, so we live at the home that's really at the end of the row houses across the street from admissions. And my wife, Teresa, who is also from Wisconsin, she has an undergrad from UW-La Crosse, a master's from La Crosse, from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse as well. She's worked at college campuses most of our adult lives, and she also enjoys interacting with students. We have two dogs, Duke and Earl. Duke is a Corgi miniature Australian Shepherd mix, and Earl is a Jack Russell who was adopted from an Amish family. And they're in that pen right outside, and when we first came, we were living in the country. When we first got here, they didn't want to go in there, and now they really like it because students and people come by and say hello to them. So they like students, maybe even more than we do. I like students, but they really love students. So I hope if people see us out, stop and say hello to the dogs too.
So having been here since June, is there anywhere off campus that you would say is your favorite spot, like favorite place to eat or favorite place to just kind of go hang out off campus? I've been surprised at the variety of restaurants in a town this size. And we've been across the river as well, but on the Michigan side, we've been to quite a few, I think just about everywhere downtown. I'm amazed we've got a Greek place, Italian place, a Thai place, Chinese place, variety of good American food places, good freshwater fish. I grew up eating perch and whitefish, and so that's great to have access to again. We like the downtown. We've been over to Rotary Park. That's a pretty neat little park to hang out. We've been out to Brimley State Park and over to Brimley. We've been over to Pictured Rocks. We took Teresa's parents there last weekend. That was a neat experience. Been out on the water a lot. I think I've been on 7 lock boat cruises so far, and each one is really pretty neat. For the students, if you haven't done that, I liked going out when we did the cruise with the president. Was a lot of fun. But I'd encourage students to get out and spend some time on the water. As it's the St. Mary's, as it opens up on either side once you get away from the city, I'm amazed how wide it gets and how much undeveloped shoreline there is. It's really a beautiful landscape, so those are all neat places. But been both to Clyde's and to, I'm trying to think, your Clyde's and West Pier.
West Pier, yeah, I should know that off the top of my head. Both excellent burgers, very different. One's about the size of a meatloaf, and they're both very good. And I've had the bison burger at Clyde's. I like that quite a bit. So those are pretty neat places too. I was surprised how small they were. We had heard so much about them, and then they're kind of a burger shack. And I'm amazed at how many people go there. But the food is good. I can only eat one of those about once a month though. They're pretty heavy duty.
Are there any programs here at school that either are not offered or maybe not as prominent as you think they should be? Are there any programs you'd like to see either show up on campus or be more celebrated?
I think we could develop, we have a great engineering program, great business school, the fishery and wildlife and biological sciences, the natural sciences, or geology programs, great. I think one area the campus could develop more are arts and humanities. Most universities I've been to, the College of Liberal Studies or Letters and Sciences, the largest college on campus, and we have a beautiful facility here. I think we can figure out ways to utilize that more and involve the community, so I think that's an area for growth. I also think regardless of what a student is studying, whether it's a very technical major or an arts major, fine arts or education, that students should have an opportunity to take a very broad curriculum in the first 2 years that includes a robust curriculum in the sciences and mathematics and in the arts and humanities, and I think there's room for growth there. A little bit of bias, I'd like to see some archaeology on campus. This is a place that should have an archaeologist. It's the oldest city in Michigan. It's been a place that's been occupied for at least 6,000 years. I think there could be an opportunity to do archaeology here and generate revenue for the university. Each place I've been, we've been able to develop a contract archaeology program that generates revenue and student experience. My wife, just out walking around the house, found a stone blade that's prehistoric Native American just a few weeks ago. So there's definitely archaeology on this campus, given the great native heritage that we have. And of course we have the Sioux tribe here, that this is their ancestral homeland. I think there's a real potential. And Fort Brady, there's a historic archaeology potential in the Sioux as well. So I think there's some opportunity there. And that program could be connected with geology, could be connected with forensic chemistry, could be connected with the biological sciences, depending upon what the specialty is. So I'd like to see that develop, but not at the expense of another necessary position. It's something we really need to see how we might work into the curriculum, and also if the faculty find that that would be worthwhile.
Well, one last thing I want to talk to you about. You haven't liked us on Facebook.
I'll change that. I am on Facebook. I have a lot of faculty and staff and university colleague friends, but I also have quite a few student friends. I enjoy connecting with students via Facebook, so I will check out the campus and become a friend.
All right, well, thank you for coming in and talking to us. Again, guys, this has been Dr. Pleger, President of the University, and we will be back to our regular scheduled program next week. So thank you very much.
Thank you.